Hey, hey, hey. It's Filter Free Friday, y'all. Listen, I am so glad y'all here. First things first, we have got to talk about this trip I made to the the nursing home yesterday for my biological father's birthday. I normally don't even go by there on Thursdays. I'm usually uh, make it by on Sundays and during the week when I got a slow day, and Thursday's not one of those. And child, so when I got there, he was in the cafeteria and his room is beyond the cafeteria, and I had his birthday presents with me. So I said, hey, I'm gonna go drop these in your room and I'll be back. And when I get to his room, I see that there's a framed picture of him and I on the wall. It has been there. It's the very first present I gave him in 2022 when I met him. So it has been there 22, 23, 24, and 25. That photo in that frame has been on that wall for 4 years, or it will be 4 years, but this is the fourth birthday, right? And there are no other pictures in his room the entire time that I have known him and gone there. But when I walked in yesterday, there was a picture of a little boy on top of my face. I think I'm gonna look for it so I can share it with y'all. But I when I so when I get emotionally dysregulated, the very first thing that happens is I like lick my teeth on the inside of my closed lips. There's nobody in the room but me. And so I have learned to pay attention to what happens in my body before, because my body knows before my mind can catch up. So I know that when I lick my lips on the inside, that I am things about to go left. So I just picked the picture up and tucked it behind the frame, So, but the very first thought I had though was I noticed because my biological father has been dating a woman for 54 years. I'm not quite 54, so not close yet. So I was born during the time that they were together. But this woman has been amazingly kind to me. She has never, like, in fact, he was in the hospital for 8, 9 days here recently, and I was the one who was going to see him every day, spending hours up there. She didn't make it. Like, she's older, just like him, and she would call me and figure out what was going on. We have never had even a terse moment between us ever. So when I walk in this room and I see this picture that's on top of my face, there's something about me that does not assume positive intent as my first step. I'm like, what the heck is this? So I just move the picture. But in my head, I'm like, see, you need to be, I'll push an old woman down. That's not true. But that's what, my first thought is. I mean, sometimes I think part of the problem that we have around conflict is that we won't be honest about how we feel about things. And when you suppress how you feel, those feelings are always going to come out in a negative way. They're not going to come out pretty. Suppressed feelings never die. There's a whole book about it. You should read it. I am learning that in order to be able to be regulated, you have to recognize your emotions. For me, especially the red ones, I have noticed that my body tells me first. I either feel like a heat in my chest, or my lip automatically goes across those teeth, like my hand go in my, I be ready, honey. So, and it's cold. So you got to recognize, understand, then label those emotions. And I think the emotion I felt, if my first thought is I'm mad. Like, how dare you, right? I'm going to see your boo, taking care of your boo, coming up here days when you don't come, and you're gonna stick a picture on top of my face in my picture frame. Like, how dare you? And but you got to be able to express that, and then you can regulate. And I, at the moment, did not get to express what I was feeling because I was in it by myself, and it all happened so fast. We talk a split second, and I just moved the picture. But then I put the picture up there for y'all to see what y'all thought I was going to do. And many of you thought that I would have cussed her out, but she wasn't there. Thank goodness. But I am going to call her. I'm going to call her today. And in my support group, many people were like, oh, assume positive intent. I'm sure she didn't mean anything. You should get a picture frame for the picture of the baby and wrap it in a bow and give it to her. See, all of that? No, I'm not doing all of that. Because if I get a picture frame and put it in a bowl and present it to her as a gift. For me, that's all passive aggression. Ain't nothing about that genuine, because I believe that there was something to her putting that picture on top of my face. So I just want to talk today about one, how I was hypocritical this week about the whole cousin thing. Because I saw Cat Williams on the podcast, in my opinion, and it was a good contrast to see him differently than he was on the podcast with Shannon Sharp. And I can't think of the name of that podcast, because it reminds me that all of us have varying levels of holy, educated, and MFer inside of us. We have this purposeful, emotionally intelligent, want to do the right thing part of us. We have this level of intelligence, and there are multiple types of intelligence. I wrote extensively about this, that show up when we are being our elevated selves. And then there's that gutter behavior that sometimes you got to pull out when folk don't know how to act, because some people only respond to and understand that kind of thing, right? And so I was like, you know what? All of these parts of me exist. I believe all of these parts of other people exist as well. But I was on getting prepared for a webinar this week, and this lady cursed. And I remember being like, do y'all watch Plies? The man says MF for every 5 seconds. It's like his filler word. It just flows off the tongue correctly. Many of the times I don't even notice that he's saying a curse word, because it's just so much a part of him. But when this lady cursed, it seemed like off, like she shouldn't have been cursing. But what I realized is I don't have a relationship with her. I don't have a relationship with Plies either, but I get to hear him more than I get to hear her. And it just seems so displaced in the environment that we were in, for her to curse in this way. And that's when I was convicted. Like, sometimes you can't just go to cussing people out, because the impact that you want to have might not be what you wanted to be. So even on Thanksgiving, I'm having a beautiful experience, honey. And somebody showed up that I wanted to cuss out. And I just had to be like, okay, what are the tools that I have learned to help me get to where the outcome that I want to get, and I don't ruin an experience for everybody else? And that means, let me name what I think I see in you. Let me name what I think I see in you. I run the risk of being wrong, and allow you to correct that. And that ain't gonna work all the time. Like, you sound like you sound angry. Help me understand that, right? That's who I want. That's truly who I want to be. And actually on Thanksgiving, I was able to do some of that. And the experience for everybody in the room was better. And like a couple of weeks later, or a week later, I feel better about my choice. And I think at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, do you want to be right, or do you want to be effective? Sometimes I'm arguing to be right when I really want to be effective. And effective for Thanksgiving means that I have the peaceful, loving, and safe holiday that I want to have, regardless of this one person, right? So cussing her out might have made me feel good in the moment, but for my very holy, God-filled saints of uncle and auntie, it would have just really dampened the experience. And later, I probably would have felt embarrassed. And so those are the things that you have to be able to think through quickly in the moment. But what I want to make sure I say is that regulation does not mean avoidance. I'm calling Miss Carolyn today, after I've had an opportunity to recognize my emotions, understand my emotions, label my emotions, express my emotions, get feedback on how I feel. I feel very regulated and able to call her and say, hey, sis, Miss Carolyn, I noticed when I went by there yesterday that you had put a picture over my face in the picture frame that's on the wall. And I was just curious, was there something you were trying to communicate when you did that? And just wait for her response. See, because too many of us think that avoidance is the thing. But if I let this go on more than this 24 hours, there's going to be emotional disconnection between me and her. And I think unnecessarily, because I want to assume positive intent that she didn't mean nothing bad. Maybe she ain't had no picture frame. But that ain't what I think. So let me call, let me be curious, I'm not about to assume positive intent or negative intent. I'm curious. What was your intention there, ma'am? Help me understand. Because depending on what she say, now we know how to proceed. Because I am going to say before that conversation is over that I put that picture frame up there with me and my biological father for him. And I don't expect that there's going to be anything over my face or his in that photo frame. And I'm just going to make that point so she can know what my expectation is. And if she want to violate my expectation, then there's a next step that we can take, right? Like, and there are some people who are like, Nicole, this ain't even that serious. But that's just it. A whole bunch of small things build. And then before you know it, now you like separating yourself from people that you don't need to separate yourself from. We have got to learn how to address an issue. And because we can't address it in small ways, that's why we can't address it in big ways. Because you can't address somebody putting a photo on top of your face, that's why you can't address somebody doing something racist or bigoted or harmful or, you know, all of these things. We have not built our capacity. We have not built our capacity. And we got to learn how to build our capacity to be better at conflict resolution. So here's what I learned. Am I still a cusser? Y'all know I am. Do I still cuss people out? The first thing in my mind? Yes, I do. And do I have to say everything I think? No, I don't. But I will say this, that I'm not going to let that slide, because I know in my heart, I have an opinion about what I think that meant. And she deserves the right to clarify. Now, if you don't care about somebody, like you ain't even thinking about it, it's because some of y'all say I couldn't care less, but you keep talking about it. So you do care. If something comes up, if you bring it up, if you tell somebody, it's big enough to be addressed. It's big enough to be addressed. And it's big enough to be addressed with the person. Because also in support groups, somebody said, Nicole, he should have said something. I don't need no triangulation. Yeah, he's my biological father. Yeah, he's her boyfriend of 54 years. But this thing that she did this ain't got nothing to do with him. I don't need him speaking for me. I'm a grown woman. This is something between us. And I know it's small. But how do relationships fracture? A series of small things that grow to big things. That's how it happens. How does success happen? A series of small breakthroughs that lead to big things. Part of our challenges today is that we think everything is just supposed to happen like the microwave. Even though we in microwave society, that's not what it is. That's not how it happens. I am going to address it. I will come back and let y'all know how it go. I have zero at this point. I am regulated because I've understood what I felt. What I felt was that she was ungrateful. Actually, I thought what I was originally feeling was anger, but no, it's like I believe what I think is because I'm the one who gets him out of there. Like, see how I'm credentialing? I'm talking about what I've done for him because I was the one at the hospital and she wasn't. To walk in and see that, my little feelings was hurt. Like, girl, I'm taking care of your man when you can't. So how you gonna put something on my face? So I'm gonna just ask her what was her intention. If she says she didn't mean nothing by it, I'm gonna ask her, does she need a picture frame? And whenever I go to the store, which is not very regularly, maybe I got one around here for the baby picture frame. Cause at this point, sis, you want me to do a whole mural of me, my face on the wall. See, that's petty. And I ain't petty. I hope y'all learned something today. Look, we ain't gotta be confrontational all the time, but also avoidance is not doing us any favors. It really isn't. It really isn't. And I also am not interested in just harmony building. That ain't helping us either. If she did mean something negative, we need to talk about that and why. What's going on, sis? Because maybe there's something I did that I don't know, or something I was supposed to do that I didn't do. Maybe I missed a birthday, so I don't know. I have no idea. But the only way I'm going to know is to ask and to talk to her. And so when I think about most of the challenges that I have had personally and professionally, they come down to people having feelings and thoughts and beliefs about things. And instead of talking to the person, They talk to and about that person. Everybody talking behind the back, thinking the situation gonna change. And I'm just telling y'all, it's what my grandma Francis would call a no backbone having jellyfish. It's not helpful. It's not helpful. And so, does it take courage? Yeah, like we all be jumping bad, but how bad are you really when you can't address an issue with the person the issue belongs to? Because what I'm learning is that some people would think that the issue needs to be addressed with my biological father. That I need to go to him and be like, well, why she? Nah, man. Well, he listen. He ain't put my bitch up there. And just his way, he ain't gonna say nothing to that lady. He know me well enough to know that when she did it, so I brought it up to y'all. I will follow up, let y'all know how it goes. But ask yourself, like, what conversation do you need to have so that you leaning into the holy part of you, the educated part of you, and dig real deep and deal with that grit part of you too. All right. It's December 5th. It's my brother Vincent's birthday. Happy birthday, Vincent. Turn up. Bye, y'all. It's Filter Free Friday. We got plenty work to do.